Galactic transmissions buzzed through every tavern, hangar, and command deck across human space, each repeating the same unbelievable announcement: the Vorkon Emperor had requested an honorable marriage alliance with humanity. Everyone knew it wasn't honor he wanted humiliation. The Vorkon had always mocked humans as primitive scavengers, unworthy of standing among the great empires. And now, as the first generation of human-built warp gates flickered alive, the Emperor suddenly extended a hand everyone suspected was dripping with insult. On Titan Station, mechanic Jace Harlow tightened a coolant valve and tried not to laugh as the broadcast replayed. The station crew exchanged smirks, all of them knowing the real reason behind the alliance. Rumor after rumor said the Emperor planned to send his daughter, the one he called his shame, his obese failure, the princess hidden from the galaxy. The joke was meant to sting, to embarrass humans in front of every species watching. Jace didn't care much for politics, but even he felt a simmering anger. He had seen cruelty before, but seeing it broadcast across star systems just to win a political game felt foul. Still, orders were orders, and he'd been assigned to the Vorkan diplomatic vessel arriving within the hour. His job: inspect the engines, ensure docking stability, and keep his mouth shut. The docking sirens echoed through the hangar, vibrating through metal beams as the alien cruiser descended. Its hull shimmered with purple biometal veins, pulsing like a living heart. Jace wiped grease from his hands and stepped forward, expecting a pompous envoy or an arrogant commander. Instead, the ramp lowered with a hiss, and silence washed over the hangar. A lone figure stood there, taller than any human woman, wrapped in ceremonial armor that seemed too heavy for her shoulders. She hesitated, as if waiting for permission to breathe. Her amber eyes flicked nervously toward the staring humans, and beneath her layered robes, she trembled. So this was the Emperor's joke. But the moment Jace met her eyes, something sharp and unexpected sparked in his chest. Because nothing about her felt funny at all. The moment Princess Ryla stepped onto Titan Station, the court officials accompanying her whispered and snickered, behind their metallic masks. Every gesture she made was scrutinized. Her slow, careful steps, the way her armor strained against her frame, the small, nervous fidgeting of her fingers. To them, she was a spectacle, an object of ridicule sent to humiliate humanity. But Jace Harlow saw something entirely different. He watched her approach the docking bay with cautious precision, her amber eyes scanning every panel, every conduit, every glimmer of exposed circuitry. There was an intensity in her gaze, a quiet understanding of machines that most adults never possessed. When she crouched to examine a docking clamp, adjusting its tension with the gentle precision of a surgeon, Jace realized she wasn't clumsy. She was deliberate. The station crew stared at her awkward movements, barely holding back their laughter, but Jace stepped forward. "Need a hand?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Ryla looked up, startled, as if she hadn't expected kindness from anyone. For a moment her posture stiffened, defensive, but then she nodded slowly and handed him a diagnostic scanner. As they worked side by side, the noise of the station faded. Sparks flew from a nearby repair bay, alarms blared from an unattended reactor monitor, and yet Ryla's hands moved with practiced skill, diagnosing and recalibrating systems faster than most of the human engineers could follow. Jace's surprise deepened. Every snicker from her entourage now sounded hollow, meaningless. When the first signs of sabotage hit the ship, flickering lights and a warning beep, Ryla's calm, precise demeanor didn't falter. Instead, she gestured for Jace to follow her into a maintenance hatch, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. In that moment, the princess who had been sent as a joke revealed herself to be exactly the kind of person the station, and Jace, had always needed. The alarms screamed through the ship, a high-pitched wail that made Jace's teeth ache. Sparks rained from a nearby conduit as the reactor core threatened to overload, sending warning lights flashing in an erratic strobe. Every engineer on Titan Station knew that if the reactor failed, the docking station and half the surrounding orbital rings would be obliterated. Jace cursed under his breath, frantically tracing the problem, but the circuits were unlike anything he had ever seen. Ryla moved beside him, her movements swift and confident, completely at odds with the hesitant, awkward figure the Emperor had mocked. With a precise flick of her gauntlet, she opened a panel beneath the reactor floor, revealing a lattice of glowing conduits and nanobio wiring that pulsed like veins. "These aren't standard Vorkan cores," she muttered, her voice calm, almost hypnotic. "Someone altered the energy flow, deliberately." Jace's jaw dropped. He had worked on Vorkon tech before, but nothing so sophisticated. Before he could react, Ryla began manipulating the core with her implants, mechanical interfaces embedded beneath her skin, hidden under layers of ceremonial armor. Each movement was deliberate, each adjustment precise. Sparks that might have burned a normal human didn't touch her. She was dancing through the reactor's systems, stabilizing energy surges and rerouting circuits that even the station's top engineers would have hesitated to touch. Together, they crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnels, dodging molten conduits and collapsing panels. Sweat and grime covered them, but Ryla's amber eyes never wavered from the core's interface. Jace finally realized the truth. The Emperor's so-called useless daughter was far more capable than he had ever imagined. Far from being a joke, she was a genius, dangerous not because of malice but because of her brilliance. And in the heat of that chaos, Jace felt a spark of respect, and something more igniting between them. For the first time, he didn't see the Emperor's insult. He saw the person who could change everything. The Vorkon Emperor's personal envoy stormed onto the station, his towering frame radiating authority and disdain. He had expected humiliation, expecting the humans to frown, to stumble, to be embarrassed by the obese daughter he had sent as a joke. Instead, he found the opposite. The entire docking bay buzzed with energy, not from fear, but from admiration. Crew members cheered, clapped, and even whistled as Ryla emerged from the reactor chamber. Soot streaked across her armor, eyes bright with controlled triumph. The Emperor froze, his jaw tightening. "What is this?" he demanded, though his voice carried the tremor of disbelief. Jace stepped forward, standing beside Ryla, his arms crossed, a confident smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "This is your daughter," he said evenly, "and she just saved this station and possibly half of Titan's orbital ring from a meltdown. She's brilliant, capable, and more than anyone here could have imagined." Ryla, exhausted but dignified, straightened her shoulders. She had expected ridicule, isolation, perhaps even disdain, but now the humans, the people her father had meant to humiliate her in front of, looked at her with respect. She no longer felt like the joke, the failure. She felt like herself. The Emperor's insult, meant to wound humanity, had backfired spectacularly. His useless daughter had become the hero of the station, the very person the humans admired and relied upon. His plans for embarrassment had transformed into a demonstration of human discernment and Vorkon miscalculation. Jace extended a hand to Ryla, the sparks of camaraderie and something deeper flaring between them. "You're exactly what I've been looking for," he said. Ryla took his hand, allowing herself a small, triumphant smile. The Emperor could only stand in stunned silence, realizing that his cruel joke had turned into humanity's greatest gain, and that his daughter's true power was something he had never and would never control.